Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the Binding of Isaac. We got a day or two without Isaac. This is a classic little banter portal right here. An Eden run straight to Blue Baby. When you don't know how good you got it, now we do. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I used to just do Eden runs. Did they be honest with me? I would be so thankful if this were the case. Don't make you piece of garbage. Okay, never mind. I love you again. If I didn't kick you, I'd kiss you. Okay, I'm out of here. Did they tweak the Eden starts? Because that was my #1 complaint after doing I don't know, 700 Eden runs in a row. Holy cow. My #1 complaint was that way too often you started with untenable damage, untenable DPS, and then especially with the item bloat that admittedly is better in Repentance, though I would say it still exists. It was much worse in Afterbirth Plus. You oftentimes just never got anything that helped you get over that hump over the course of an entire run and just found yourself kind of like mired in mediocrity the whole time. Spawns 2 dips upon clearing a room. You know what? Let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. I wonder if they tweaked it. I mean, I can't say that with authority, but this is like 3 great Eden starts in a row from a DPS perspective. Take a wooden spoon, get the heck out of town. It sucks we did leave behind 2 tinted rocks, but what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? Hey, what do you want me to do about it? It is a Thursday. But it's a weird Thursday. Tomorrow is my wife's birthday. We're going to be taking a little bit of a staycation. So I won't be around for a little bit. It's more... Well, let's go. Look at that. It's really more like my Friday. But it's like a Friday where I'm trying to squeeze in... I'm trying to cheat the system a little bit. Get a little bit of extra work done that you wouldn't ever... You know, on a normal Friday, you might be like, I'm just... trucking it to the finish line here. This Friday, I'm like, nah, man, this Friday is like a Tuesday. Like, I'm trying to go 3 Isaacs today, maybe. Otherwise, we'll miss some over the weekend. Which is fine, by the way. It's fine. Looking forward to it. Red poop? These poops just get created randomly, right? Like, based on randomness? Like, it's not, there's no, like, we don't kill a certain type of enemy and we get a certain type of dip out of it when the room's done? I don't think so. I don't believe so. HP would be a lovely get here. Thank you so much. We'll head down to our next floor. A little scared, but don't have to be that scared. We definitely want to do angel deals. I don't have too much anecdotally speaking, that's for sure. Now that I think about it, I haven't been outside all that much. I did, look, one of the things I like to do in these episodes is if you're like me, I always think about how it would have been nice when and not that I was like a total misfit at age like 15 or 16 or whatever, but it would have been nice to have like more models in society for my own psyche. Like really, I know how this sounds, and a lot of people are in the same boat, but the first time I ever saw someone in media and said that this person is actually just like me was when I saw Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm not talking about like representation. Obviously, like, you know, in movies and TV and video games, a lot of people look like me. Maybe with hair, but still. But like, you know, it's the first time I ever realized that, like, there's other people who are, like, grumpy happy. And who, you know, argue about things that are meaningless to argue about, but that's half the fun, and etc., etc. But I like to model, you know, my own genuine personality as much as possible to let you know that if you're also, you know, 19 years old and you would rather, like, you know, read a book than go to a nightclub, there's millions of you out there, and I was one of them, you know? Try growing up in the heyday of Sex in the City, man. Oh my God. Remember my One of my college housemates' girlfriend thought she was fancy for her birthday. She's probably turning 20. She and her friends saw the Sex and the City movie, and then we went out to a nightclub and got bottle service. One of the least, like, authentic nights I've ever had in my entire life, for sure. Whole time, just like, what the heck am I doing here? Anyway. Not that, you know, it's her birthday. She can do whatever she wants. I should not have been invited. I didn't cause any problems. It was just not for me. Anyway. But, you know, so some things in life change over time. Some things in life stay the same. Yesterday, I was picking up my daughter from daycare. When I got there, there were 3 parents already in a conversation with one another. I walked up and said, hello. And then they were like, oh, they were polite. They said hello, and then they kept having their conversation. Again, not impolite, very normal. But I couldn't find a way to get into the conversation, so I was just kind of like awkwardly standing there, nodding, but not really being involved. So almost wondering if by nodding, I was like being a little socially strange because I'm like nodding at a conversation I'm not involved in. Like, why don't you just say something? So instead, I just took out my phone and in an attempt to appear busy, made a tweet that said, hey, don't mind me. 100% chance at 10 luck, huh? I said, don't mind me. I'm just making a tweet on my phone to look busy while all the other parents at daycare have a conversation. That's relatable, man. Like, I don't mind. I have a very high tolerance for awkwardness. I don't find it that uncomfortable. But I was just like, I gotta... Oh. Wait. This converts red hearts into blue spiders? If we don't need them, right? That seems amazing with something like Old Bandage, although Old Bandage only triggers when you take damage, so you would need it. I don't know. I mean, we haven't gotten the superstar trinkets yet. Anyway. If you think that maybe there's a point in your life where, like... And it might happen. I've never been good at small talk. I always, like, accidentally turn small talk, not into big talk, but I either, like, make a joke that makes things appear as if they're, like, more serious, and then I realize that we're not on the same page. I mean, I guess maybe this is 2 guppy items. Or, like, I'll accidentally, like, you know, surface some trauma for the other person or offend them accidentally. Like, not even being offensive, but just saying something, like, ridiculous. I always elevate the small... Oh, no! I always elevate the small talk, because I don't mind talking about the weather or whatever, but I always find it weird how you end up, like, you know, I was talking to one of the parents from daycare, and we ended up talking about how, like, you know, oh, we both got stuck in the Minneapolis airport one time. Isn't that weird? And it is like, you know what, we might need this. Oh, but then it's not coming off! You fool! No, don't sweat it. There's a billion items in this game that burn off a trinket. But, like, I don't know. I guess here's what, because I'm spinning my wheels on this one too, but here's what I would say. I think we gotta, as a people, embrace the idea of just not having to talk to people because you happen to be in the same area. You know what I mean? Like, obviously you don't have to talk to strangers, like when you're at a bus stop or something like that. And obviously, like, if you're hanging out with your friends, you got, like, a different relationship. Maybe you never stop talking, maybe you never utter a word, but if it works for you, that's great. But these are people that we exist in kind of a weird superposition for one another, right? Like, we're not friends. I know nothing about them except, you know, what their child's name is and what they look like. So, like, it's a weird situation, I want to pick it up, where and there's no way to say it without it sounding rude, but it's genuinely not rude, but I would rather look at my phone than talk to you, not because you're not interesting, but just because I don't care. Like, because we don't know each other, right? And I mean, we could get to know each other. I guess it's always good to have more friends if you're living on like a Sesame Street or whatever. But I genuinely mean like no hard feelings by it. It's more just like I would rather be looking at, you know, Twitter right now or something like that. I'd rather be looking at, you know, r/funny or something. Probably not, but you know, is that so bad to admit? Like, there are people where you're like, I'd rather you didn't talk. That's not what I'm trying to get at. Also, we just got insanely lucky. This is much more like, can't we both agree that we would have more fun right now if we were all just looking at our phones? Because you never make it like a human connection during small talk anyway. Okay, now I know that we both got stuck in the Minneapolis airport. I don't know, like, you know, what's your stance on the vaccines? That's because I'm the only one wearing a mask. I'm not saying that they aren't vaccinated. I'm just saying you could probably guess my stance based on my choice of nasal wear. Was like, if you want to get into some real conversation, let's figure out where we stand on some issues that some people might erroneously describe as controversial. But they're not ready for that. No, instead it's, you know, how was your Thursday? About the same as usual, pretty pog. Can't complain. But like, you know, again, I'm not being a hater. I'm not saying these are bad people or people that are undesirable to have as friends. It's just like, why do the talkers always get to have their way? You know what I mean? The non-talkers who are comfortable with silence and are like, let's recognize we're all just here to accomplish this task. The non-talkers always have to bend to the will of the talker, because otherwise you'll get ostracized by society. You can't be the person who's like, someone says, how was your day? And you just ice them, you know? If you look at your phone, at least you have some plausible deniability, but I feel, and this is not even to be rude to the talkers, and I also think that sometimes extroverts think that it's like an introvert jealousy. It's not really the case. I would really just rather be looking at my phone. You're not saying anything, I don't say anything that interesting either, but really, you're not saying anything that interesting. Look at this. It's a photo of the cutest dog I've ever seen in my life. Are you going to show me a picture of the cutest dog you've ever seen in your life? Well, if no, then I'm going back to my phone. Anyway, I genuinely like people as well, for the most part. At least in the Tommy Lee Jones Men in Black 2 sense, you know, a person is smart, people can be stupid. Would you look at that? A gamble advantage there. A gamble benefit. But, I don't know, man. It's just the small talk. I don't care for it. And we're all just waiting, like, we're all having the conversation just praying that, like, the daycare provider comes out just, like, a little bit faster before I accidentally go, like, you know, reveal some kind of, like, deep-seated insecurity. I think we got to get better at silence. That's, like, I've always admired, and I feel like Canada is kind of like America with a dash of Nordic to it. Maybe it's just the cities, actually, but either way, I always admired that, like, there's this viral image of, like, people waiting for a bus in Sweden, and even though it's, like, really cold outside, none of them want to be within 6 feet of one another, so they're all, you know, giving each other their own personal space. I'm a big fan of that. I know that a lot of people look at that photo and go like, oh, it's so sad we've lost our human sense of, like, kindness. I'm much more like, you know, hey, wow, they're all giving each other the ability to, you know, pursue their own interests, even if their own interests are just in their own head right now. Because people always, you know, I live in a city, I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, and this is a city that's renowned for not having what might be considered an emblematic Canadian sense of hospitality. You know, other Canadian cities, and even, like, I grew up in adjacent to a town that had, like, 130,000 people in it or something, so you might describe it as, like, mid-size. And when I would walk down the street, you know, let's say I'm walking to work at like 8 in the morning or something like that, If you crossed paths with somebody else, you would make eye contact with them and nod your head and go, good morning. You know, it was like the 1950s, you know, we were saying hi to our neighbors and stuff like that. Now I live in a city where nobody says hi to anybody. And if you see someone you like kind of know, you bury your head in your phone as you walk by them because you don't want to be the person to initiate the conversation and then like, oh man, like I gotta, you know, get to my shift at Cactus real quick. As you know, you get the general idea. And people always say things like, isn't that sad? And I'm like, nah, man, it's awesome. I didn't get a single, and I'm not from a selfish standpoint. I never got a single benefit out of saying hi to someone on the street. Just because we happen to see each other. It was just a mutual signal that we were like, this is the way things are done here. So effectively, not saying hi to people on the street is exactly the same. It's just that the way I take it, at least, is that we're no longer pretending that we're friendly by uttering a single word that a mean person could easily masquerade as friendly just by repeating. We're simply living authentically, and if you're a stranger, like, unless you are in urgent need of help, please don't talk to me, because I've got places to go. Not me, like everybody. Anyway, like, I'm just, okay, so again, I just want you to know as well, if you're, Blue Baby, that's right, if you're watching this, and you're like, wow, this kind of sounds like me for real, give me Tammy's hat on this one, man. We don't need double tick value anymore. I want you to know that in your name, I'm taking a lot of heat right now from people that are like, no, it's impossible to be nice unless you say hi and make eye contact with absolutely everybody that you see on the street. My life is like a Norman Rockwell painting. Deepest bluest, my hat is like a shark's fin as well. So I'm willing to take that heat for you. Because as a content creator, one thing you deal with, and it's not that bad, but one thing you deal with is being gaslit. You say one thing, people take it to a logical extreme and go, oh, so nobody should ever talk to anybody? What about your spouse? And you're like, come on, use your head for 2 seconds. But it's not that I don't want to talk to people. It's just that it's the situations where as soon as you roll up, you're expected to have a perfunctory conversation in the name of civility. I dispute the notion that silence is uncivil. I think what it is that people find it awkward, and it is a little, to be in the presence of somebody that you know, but not be speaking. All I think we should do is acknowledge that we know each other, say hi, and then if we have something to talk about, like, oh, did you see the newsletter last week or whatever, you know, have a conversation about the relevant details. Apart from that, come on, you don't want to hear about my trip to wherever. I'm not really that interested in your trip to wherever. Like, you know, we're brought together by a shared need for childcare here. Maybe at one point there will be a picnic. That's a more natural place to socialize. You know, we'll learn a bit about each other. We'll become friends or be like, I never want to speak to that person ever again. But why are we putting on the veneer of this being like a thing? You know what I mean? And the talkers, if you're a talker, so be it. You know, I think you don't have control over that 100%. So, you know, product of your upbringing and, you know, your psyche and stuff like that. But the non-talkers need a little bit more respect, man. The non-talkers don't get the representation they deserve. Mostly, I guess, because the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but I would love to take that vibrant bulb. I would. But I can't. Take me down. Anyway, so that was my day yesterday. It was actually fine. It's totally normal. I just made it seem blown out. They're probably thinking the same thing. And I take no offense to it. I bet there's a part of them, they're like, man, I'm glad that guy's not talking. He never shuts up about that one time he got stuck in the Minneapolis airport. Plus, he wears his mask outside like a weirdo. Well, I could take off the mask, but it would hurt a great deal. I don't, like, look. I'm gonna be honest. At first, you know, if we're talking about, like, April 2020, I was very much eager to take off the mask. I can't wait till summer 2020 when this is all over with and I can finally show my smile in the grocery store again. But now that I've got masks that and Canada, well, it is provincial, but BC is still under like an indoor mask mandate, so like pretty much, unless they're taking like a political stance, pretty much every place of business you need to wear a mask to go inside. Now, like, would they stop you at most places? I think yes. At some places, you know, I think they're doing almost like an honor code style system. But either way, just to give you an idea of where we stand right now. But we got masks that have like the metal clip so that like my glasses don't fog up like crazy when I'm using the mask anymore. And at this point, honestly, in the wintertime, I'm actually almost happier to have it on. I feel like it's like a slight, I guess it's not an untapped market right now, but I feel like it's a winter accessory that did not get its due. I always thought like a balaclava was like a little overkill. Now that I'm, you know, wearing a toque and a mask anytime I go outside, I'm like, nah, man, they had it figured out with the balaclava. It's a shame that the, you know, armed robbers kind of ruined the ability to wear a balaclava outside without looking like you're about to take down First National Bank. But having your mouth and nose covered from the cold air, the way I feel about it is if I find myself outside without my mask on, I feel like I do the day I shave if I go outside on a cold day. Like it's like a 5% difference in comfort. So at this point, it's almost like I wish I could quit you, you know? I don't think you know, if we end up in a situation where masks are no longer worn for whatever reason, you know, like daily, would I still wear one just for the cold protection? No, the same way I got used to wearing one, I'm sure I could get used to not wearing one and be like, wow, like I can breathe so easily or whatever. But I think definitely I would still wear one if I had to be outside when I was sick. I think we've reached a level where that's like common decency. I expect, like, look, I don't think we have like a huge component of like very antagonistic pandemic related individuals where I live, but there have been some times, especially like you know, when I was at the mall, I saw a few people that were like almost giddy that they weren't wearing masks and like looking at people like, check it out, check it out, jealous. I just felt like being like, man, like if, I mean, I'm not like the government, but if you're healthy, like I'm not gonna kick up a fuss, but if anything, you shouldn't be looking at me being like, don't you want a slice of this? I've been like sick as a dog. Even if you think, you know, COVID was made by Bill Gates or something like that, you should be thankful I'm wearing a mask because I've been carrying like, you know, RSV for 4 weeks or something like that and only recently got over it. You should be thanking me for my service, man. You don't want a slice of this. I mean, I'm feeling great now. Don't get me wrong. Okay, that's the good stuff right there. Look at him. Give me that lover's card. This is a great run, by the way. That's what happens when I have no anecdotes. We just talk about COVID. Anybody else drive by that the COVID testing site at Cambie and 33rd in Vancouver? Man, that's like, I haven't seen a lineup that big since they opened the first. There's got to be a joke here. Since they opened the first Jollibee on Granville, I don't think they've opened that Jollibee. I haven't been outside in like a lot in the last couple of years. I don't really know what's going on with the city. A lot of construction. For sure, man. Oh, don't even this is we're local posting now. Anybody here have to go drive on West Broadway? What the heck are they doing, man? 3 lanes, 2 lanes, 1 lane. Stop, go. Him, me. Okay, anyway, sorry. I don't know. Like, that one goes to all the people in Vancouver. Keep it up. Keep on keeping on. Bruce, there it is, etc., etc. That's all I got, man. I'm looking forward to having a little time off, but I gotta be honest, I've reached the point where I think I'm kind of like a Peloton psycho. Like, I'm not trying to convert people, and I say that every time, because I also don't believe in the idea that that's what someone who sounds like they were trying to convert people would say is a valid criticism. That's probably, there's gotta be a logical fallacy named for that, right? That's like, hey, did you kill, hold on. Good answer. Come up with a good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Did you kill Jimmy Hoffa? There you go. Long enough ago that people can't be offended, but also famous enough that people know who he is, or at least that he's famous for being dead. Did you kill Jimmy Hoffa? No. Well, that's what someone would say if they killed Jimmy Hoffa. Yeah, of course. That's not a valid criticism. Your Honor, isn't that what someone would say if they did murder Jimmy Hoffa? Holy cow. The crown rests. We need to get that heart back, man. But I'm now at the point where I'm happy that I'm gonna be away from the house a little bit, seeing some family, but I am not thrilled that I'm not going to be at the Peloton, because I got a 48 to 50 day daily activity streak going on right now. It takes a long time to rebuild that. I mean, it takes approximately 48 to 50 days. I'm not trying to be cagey. I just don't know the answer. It's somewhere in that range at least. So I think what I'm actually going to do, you would think that, you know, you would just be an adult at age 33 and I would embrace that, you know, I work for myself and the tool works for me, so who cares about arbitrary milestones? Nah, man, I'm not letting the streak go like that. So they're gonna download the app, and while I'm away, I'll do a little like you know, like a 10-minute stretch every morning or something like that. You think I want that platinum badge, man. I want those digital high fives. Don't even start with me. But I think I'm always maybe overly anal about that stuff, because the way that habits have gone for me in the past, and I think this is just a personality flaw that I'm hoping to get better at as I get older. I've definitely gotten better at it over my life, but like I still room to grow. But like when I'm in something, I'm all in. I'm reading about it. I want to, you know, not be the best in the world, because I think that train has sailed for just about anything. Maybe the senior PGA Tour is still open to me if I really get a move on. But to be the best that like I can be, to do it in the most efficient way that I can do it, you know, I care about that stuff when I'm into something. And then like after one day of not doing it, I'm like, I miss it. And then after 2 days of not doing it, I'm like, I never want to do that again. So I try to be very protective of my healthy routines when I've got them intact, because, you know, it just takes like, oh, we're going away for like a few days, and then the day you come back, you're like, oh, I didn't sleep well last night, what's one more day? And then you're like, you come down with the sickness, and then you're like, okay, now that's like a week on top of all that, and then you're like, well, at this point, like, I might as well just never do it again. And then, you know, you come back next New Year's Eve or something. So I try to be as protective as possible. And you know what? If maintaining an arbitrary number of days in a row, if that helps me, then maybe that is the bike serving me as a tool instead of me serving the bike. You know what I mean? Maybe I just flip the script. A. That's a song, right? I don't know. I haven't heard it on the Peloton recently. Just been listening to a lot of Beyonce. She's got some bops, man. I missed out on all the Beyonce. I knew Crazy in Love and Bonnie and Clyde when she left Destiny's Child. I didn't really know anything else. I've heard Countdown, I've heard Formation, I've heard Halo. She's got some bops, man. No wonder she's like, I don't know, one of the most popular artists in music history. I can see it. There's some artists, I don't mean to be a hater, but when their music comes on during the Peloton rides. I'm like, this was the best-selling female artist of the 2000s? I don't think so. Hey, anyway, thanks for watching. That's no, don't come for me. It wasn't Britney. It was Pink. Look it up. Billboard's top-selling female artist of the 2000s. It was Pink, or maybe it was 2010s. I can't remember. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps it a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya.